Welcome to the Park Life Podcast. This is episode 46. My name is Mike. I'm a travel agent that specializes in all things Disney, whether it's Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruises, or Disney Alani. I'd love to work with you and your family on your next magical vacation. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Disney World today versus 10 years ago versus 20 years ago. I know some of you may not have been in some time, so I thought it'd be fun today to kind of reminisce back on things as they are today versus how they were in the past, whether it's prices, resorts, rides, you name it. We'll kind of cover a little bit of all of it here. So strap in. We're going to go down memory lane at Walt Disney World, comparing today to the last 10 or 20 years. Let's start with probably the most obvious thing to ask about, and that is prices. Now, I will say, if you're not familiar with Disney World, at least in current times, prices will vary based on time of year, expected crowd levels, days of the week, which park you're going to go to, how many park days of a ticket you're buying. There's a number of variables that will make the price change. But I'm going to focus on two constants: a 1 day park ticket to Magic Kingdom. Try to make it as simple as possible. And even that, there's still going to be variables, right? Buying a ticket to the Magic Kingdom for February 18th is going to be a much different price than buying that same ticket for Magic Kingdom for December 24th. Okay. So, with that in mind, prices today in 2025 for Magic Kingdom for a single day park ticket will range between $164 and $189. If you want to go in the middle, that would be about 175. So we'll put that kind of as our marker for a single day Magic Kingdom ticket for an adult ages 10 and up, $175 in 2025. That same ticket in 2015 would cost approximately $105. So you can see about $70 increase over 10 years. So not quite $10 a year, probably closer to $7 a year, but still an increase. That same ticket in 2005 would cost $60. Pretty amazing, huh? I mean, the price from 2005 at $60 to 2025 at 175, price almost tripled over 20 years. Now, thought it'd be interesting to look at a resort. Again, there's a variety of resorts from the lower end value resorts to the moderate resorts that are middle price to the deluxe resorts, different times a year, different resorts, length of stay, all those things change the price. But I figured just to give you a baseline, I looked at the Polynesian Resort. So in 2025, again, the price is going to vary, but it will range anywhere between $735 a night up to about $1,025 a night. All right. So just for simple sake, let's call it $800. And that's probably low end for most nights at Poly, but we'll say $800 in 2025. That same resort stay at Polynesian for one night in 2015 would cost you about $650. And then if we go back in our time machine to 2005, that price would range between $350 and $400 per night. It's amazing when I say that to think, man, if I could stay at the Polynesian right now for $350 or $400 a night, I would book it every day of the week, and I think most of you would as well. But if we jumped in that time machine and went back 20 years ago, I would be like, man, $350 or $400 a night is insane, and there's no way I can afford doing that. So time is a relevance factor when it comes to these prices. Now, it's really hard for me to be able to just say to you, here's what was open in 2005, here's what was open in 2015, here's what's open today. So what I thought I would do is go through a list of rides at Magic Kingdom. I'm looking at Magic Kingdom only here, that have closed in the last 20 to 25 years. So if you haven't been to Disney in 10 years, 15, 20, 25 years, some of these rides you might have recalled riding, and the next time you go, they're not there any longer. Some of them are older closures, some of them are very fresh and new closures, and I'll hit those here in a little bit. So, in no particular order, I don't have these in date order. They were just off the top of my head as I thought of them. wrote them down, found the dates, and then researched to find any that I were missing. Now I'm going to tell you right up, straight up, there are probably some that I don't have on my list. So you can comment those, but just understand I didn't go every single attraction, a character meet and greet, things like that. These are probably more mainstay rides, shows, parades, things like that may be more top of mind for people. Stitch's Great Escape in Tomorrowland, across from the Laugh Floor and Buzz Lightyear. That ride closed in 2018. It's amazing. It's been 7 years already. Splash Mountain, the specific name of the water ride at Magic Kingdom called Splash Mountain, closed in 2023. Yes, the ride still runs. It's under a new name. I'll cover that when I hit my newer rides list here in a little bit. Anybody remember Spectro Magic Parade? Nighttime parade that ended in 2010. Toontown. So first off, I was just at Disney 2 weeks ago. We took our grandson for his very first time, and while we went back into Fantasyland and did the Dumbo ride, and those things, it made me kind of reminisce and miss Toontown. They used to be there in that back part of the park back in the day. You could walk through Minnie Mouse's house, Mickey Mouse's house, all that wonderful area back there. Toontown closed in 2011. It was stunning to me that it's been 14 years already. Snow White's Scary Adventures. It was a dark ride, theme ride at Magic Kingdom, closed in 2012. The Main Street Electrical Parade. I love this nighttime parade. It closed in 2016. We are closing in on 10 years already since that closed. This one hurts me because I'm so incredibly fond of this. First off, I love all of the fireworks shows that Magic Kingdom puts on, whether it's Happily Ever After, Enchanted, you name it. Love them all. Wishes will always be my favorite. It ended in 2017. It's been 8 years already. Here's the reason why it's my favorite. All three of my children grew up, their first trips, first one, two, three, four trips. Wishes was the fireworks show at Magic Kingdom. That's what they grew up on. So I have a massive fondness for Wishes at Magic Kingdom. Boy, I wish I could see that again. I wish they bring it back. Anybody remember the Move It, Shake It dance party? It was kind of a almost a cavalcade type in today's environment, but a parade that ran through the Magic Kingdom on the parade route. Short lived, but it was very jazzy, a lot of dance music. They would hop down and do some dancing in the streets with kids. That ended in 2018. It's been a long time already as well. All right, here's some new hitters. Um, as of the time of this recording in June of 2025, these are actually still open. But if you don't have your trip scheduled in the next 25-ish days, 30 days, you're going to miss out. A opening day attraction, Tom Sawyer Island in the Magic Kingdom over in Frontierland. It's closing on July 7th of this year, 2025. So July 6th is the last day of operation for Tom Sawyer Island. Likewise, the Rivers of America, which the Liberty Square boat, the paddle boat rides on, it too is closing on July 7th. So its last day of operation is July 6th of 2025. Very nostalgic rides, ride closures that are bittersweet. The sentimentalist, the people that have been there since the early 70s in the parks, love those attractions. They're nostalgic, like I said, and so it's hard to see those go, but they're not going just to go. They're going because of progress. And so a new Cars Land area is being built. They're going to drain all that water, fill it in with dirt, and they're building a new Cars Land section there. So progress is always something that Walt always pushed, that the parks would never be finished. So in the sentiment of Walt himself, progress is a good thing. So I mentioned Stitch's Great Escape. If you're old like me, you probably remember before Stitch's Great Escape, you had the alien encounter. That's been closed now for 30 years. It closed in 1995, so that goes back a long ways. Even further back, this one I remember as a child, and again, my first trip to the Magic Kingdom was in 1976. So a lot of change in that period of time. I mean, gosh, it'll be 50 years next year since I first went to the Magic Kingdom. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It was a submarine ride. I remember as a little kid, you thought you were getting into a submarine and going under, the ocean. And they had some, makeshift sea life that you'd see. It was, as a 6-year-old, it was lifelike enough for me. That ride closed in 1994, so it's been 31 years now. This one, I loved this show when it was there. Legend of the Lion King. I'll say it closed in 2002, so it's been closed 23 years now. So if your last trip was more recent than that, you never saw Legend of the Lion King. It is in Fantasyland, right behind the castle to your left. Right now, today, that is Mickey's PhilharMagic. It's a 3D show. Legend of the Lion King was held in that theater back in the day. Loved it. That came, um, was there before Animal Kingdom Park opened, before Festival of the Lion King, the current show at Animal Kingdom. So the Legend of the Lion King at Magic Kingdom was wonderful. Another dark ride that traditionalists loved, and they love the fact that you can still go to Disneyland to enjoy it, and that's Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That closed in 1998. And then the last one I have on my list for Magic Kingdom, and again, there's probably others. But the last one that I have listed, again, this one goes back now 31 years. It's insane to say that. The Skyway closed in 1994. The Skyway was an old style traditional ski lift ride that took you from Tomorrowland over by where Carousel of Progress is today, across to Fantasyland where the Rapunzel Tower and bathrooms are today. There were stations at both places to get on and get off the ski lift there. It was a great aerial ride. You can kind of see the lay of the land of the park back then, but that's now been gone for 31 years. So, again, if you haven't been to Disney in a long time, depending on how long it's been, some of those rides you may fondly remember and know that the last time you were there, you rode them. And maybe you're thinking you're going to go in the next 6 months or next year or 2 years or whatever it may be. Those rides are no longer there. So you'll have to just reflect on your memories of those rides. Now, here's a list of new attractions, shows, rides at Magic Kingdom. And again, I focused on Magic Kingdom alone. If you haven't been to Disney in over 25 years, Animal Kingdom opened in 1998, so it's 27 years old now. So, depending on how long ago it is, that's a whole brand new park for you. Anyway, Magic Kingdom new rides. And again, no particular order. These are not chronological, just as I thought of them, and then further research. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train opened in 2014. That blows me away. It feels like it's still a new ride or new attraction at Magic Kingdom in Florida, but it's 11 years old already. This one's newer. Kron opened in 2023. It's 2 years old now, which is incredible to me that it's already been 2 years open. But that's a new launch roller coaster at the Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland. If you've not been there yet, not seen it, it is a launch coaster. It's incredibly smooth. It's a short ride, less than a minute, I think, in total from the time you launch to the time you wrap up. But a very exciting, great thrill ride. If you're not a huge roller coaster fan, two things that I'll tell you that might sway you to ride it: one, it does not go upside down, and two, it does not have any significant high, tall hills that you climb and massive drops. You're not off the ground incredibly high, so keep that in mind. The Astro Orbiter, which is a ride in Tomorrowland, it's up above the entrance of People Mover. It's actually currently under refurbishment. It opens later on this summer in 2025, but it opened 30 years ago in 1995. Just a year later, in 1996, over in Fantasyland, the Goofy roller coaster, the Barnstormer, opened again in 1996, so it's 29 years old now. A cute roller coaster. I always consider that to probably be a good starter roller coaster for your children if you're at Disney World. Across the four parks, that's probably what I would say the tamest of the coasters. It doesn't go off the ground very high. It again is a shorter ride, probably less than a minute. So probably a good starter for kids if you're trying to get them into roller coasters. 1998, so 27 years ago now, this amazes me too. The Buzz Lightyear ride in Tomorrowland opened. Now, that ride is set to close in August of 2025 for a lengthy refurbishment. If you've ridden that ride in the past, you know that the little laser guns you shoot are stationary. All you can do is swivel them back and forth and push the button. They're going to make them more mobile, probably on some type of a cord where you can pull them out and have more range of motion with them. They're going to redo a lot of the graphics, probably the technology with the lasers and targets they're shooting on are probably going to be a little more current to date. I think that ride will open back up sometime in 2026. I'm excited for that refurbishment. 1999, so now 26 years ago, the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh ride opened up in Fantasyland in the Magic Kingdom. Jump ahead to 2001. I can't believe this has been there 24 years now. The Magic Carpets of Aladdin in Adventureland opened up. So again, 2001, 24 years ago, that ride opened up. If you're a traditionalist with the Magic Kingdom and you've been there over the years or watched on social media, a lot of us like to call that the tragic carpets ride instead of magic carpets because inevitably a lot of times you hear it's almost like listening to brakes without brake pads, just the screeching sound of the ride. So I mentioned the Legends of the Lion King in Magic Kingdom in Fantasyland back behind the castle right by the carousel that was there and closed. And that's where PhilharMagic is today. That show, it's a 3D show, opened in 2003. From my perspective, that might be one of the best 3D shows in all of Disney World. I just think back when my youngest son, who's 19 now, when he was 2 and we were there, I can remember it like it was yesterday, him sitting in my lap and physically reaching, thinking he was going to grab the 3D objects that those glasses were projecting right in front of your face. Loved it. And then I remember as soon as I felt him doing that, I kind of looked around and you see little kids all over the place, maybe some bigger kids too, reaching to try to grab the 3D objects in Tomorrowland. This is one of my favorite shows, the Mike Wazowski Laugh Floor, part of the Monsters Inc. Genre with Mike Wazowski. Laugh Floor opened in 2007. One of the things I love about that show is it's different and unique every time. Guests are allowed to text in jokes, and they will use a few of those jokes in the show, so that makes it unique from the previous show and the one to follow and they have guest interaction with some things. So based on the guest interaction when they interview them, that will change the flavor and the voice characters in the show have to, change on a dime and how they handle the guest comments or reactions to things. Love that one. Today in 2025, if you want to see Mickey Mouse in the Magic Kingdom, you will see him in Town Square, which is kind of a misnomer. Town Square is when you first walk into Magic Kingdom and you go underneath the train station tracks. It's a circle, but it's Town Square. So, I guess geometry majors and plug your ears on that one. But in Town Square, you can meet Mickey Mouse. He is in the Town Square Hall just to your right as you walk into the Magic Kingdom. He's been there now since 2011. Incredible. Now, that obviously ties back to when Toontown closed, which was also in 2011. Mickey Mouse had to have a place to go. That's where they put him. He's been there ever since in Fantasyland, I think this is one of my favorite character interactive experiences. It's Enchanted Tales with Belle. It's a beautiful indoor air conditioned experience that's unique every single time. They have guest interaction, they have guests play roles in the show. That has been open since 2012, so it's been 13 years. Near that, also in Fantasyland, where 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea used to be back in the day, the Little Mermaid ride, Under the Sea with Little Mermaid, opened in 2012. The Festival of Fantasy Parade, which takes place daily. Right now, it's at 3 p.m. every day. Sometimes they have it at noon and 3. At times, they'll move it to 2 o'clock. You'll always want to check the My Disney Experience app when you're heading down there. But the Festival of Fantasy Parade has been going now for 11 years. So 2014 is when that started. It always makes me wonder if Disney has plans for an upgraded daily parade at some point in time. Um, The Adventure Friends Cavalcade, speaking of parades, Disney does a very condensed, shortened parade throughout the day a couple different times. We just affectionately call it a cavalcade, but it is the Adventure Friends Cavalcade. That started in 2022 as Disney rolled out of COVID when it closed in 2020 and reopened late in 2020. They made some modifications on different things. And then a year later or so in 2022, they started doing cavalcades in addition to the traditional longer Festival of Fantasy parade each day. I mentioned that Splash Mountain closed in 2023. The ride is still there. It operates today. In 2024, it reopened as Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The ride itself is the same ride track, the same big drop. Um, Part of me feels like you get wetter now than you did back then, but obviously the scenery is different. The animatronics are completely different, newer, beautiful ride. But yes, Tiana's open in 2024. I mentioned a couple of the nighttime parades that closed years ago. This is a big one. People are incredibly excited about this, but Disney is bringing back a nighttime parade to the Magic Kingdom. The Disney Starlight Parade will start on July 20th, 2025. Super excited, obviously, with newer technology. That parade is going to be amazing. And I'm sure the latter half of July is going to be a very popular time to be at the Magic Kingdom, especially at night as the sun sets. Disney is opening up a new tavern in Magic Kingdom, and it will be across from or near the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and it will be a Pirates of the Caribbean tavern. Again, opening here in 2025, a little bit later this year. Outside of Magic Kingdom, and it doesn't really apply to Magic Kingdom, but this was one that I felt was important to mention. The newest version of transportation between parks and resorts opened in 2019, and that was the Skyliner. The Skyliner is a above ground gondola ride. You're suspended from a cable, think going up to the top of a ski slope, gondola type of thing. That transportation connects the following resorts to the following parks. So Art of Animation and Pop Century have their own loading docking station. That takes you over to the Caribbean Beach Resort, which is then the hub of the Skyliner. From Caribbean Beach Resort, you can take another Skyliner over to the Riviera Resort, where you can get off and on, or continue on to Epcot. Also from the Caribbean Beach Resort is a third Skyliner lane or line, if you will, that takes you from Caribbean Beach over to Hollywood Studios. So that's opened now 6 years, 2019. Amazing. And then the last ride that I have listed here for opening, and this is kind of a splitting hairs, is the Dumbo ride. And as I pause, you might be thinking, wait a minute, Dumbo's been there forever since the park opened. You're absolutely right. Dumbo has been there forever. But in 2012, they moved the Dumbo ride from behind the castle and moved it over into Fantasyland over by where Toontown was. And not only did they move it, but instead of having a single ride with the Dumbo elephants going around, they opened up a second one so they can get more passengers on each ride. They also built in an indoor child play area where you can actually get kind of a pager and kids can play. And when it's your turn, the pager goes off. You round up the kids, hop on the elephant, and away you go. So that opened up in 2012. So again, that's been over 10 years now already. Okay, let's jump to a couple other topics again. Changes from 2025 dating all the way back to at least 2005 over the last 20 years. Fast Pass, if you haven't been to Disney in a while, but you've been there in the last 20, 25 years, Fast Pass is something that you probably remember. It actually opened, that function or service opened in 1999. That's amazing to me. And back then, you would go to a kiosk and get a paper ticket that said you could return to ride X between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. And you'd get a ticket for each person in your party. And then you go to that attraction and scan it, and you could go. They had a period of time where you could get three of those ahead of time. And then once you used up those three, you could go back to a kiosk and get another fast pass ticket. And you'd go and hop in line for that ride in the period of time that the ticket gave you. That service that opened in 1999 was a free service to all guests. Did not matter whether you stayed on property or not, but that opened in 1999. In 2021, and so I should probably say COVID happened in March of 2020. The Disney parks closed down. Some of the services and functions that were a part of everyday fabric at Disney before COVID did not necessarily return when the parks reopened. There were a number of things that went into that, social distancing and safety, employees being available to come back to work, the parks being run at lower capacity for health and risk and safety reasons, and therefore they didn't need as many cast members working. All sorts of different dynamics led into different things not opening or returning when the park reopened. Fast Pass is one that they decided to do away with at that point in time. And in 2021, a new service called Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes opened up, and it was a paid service. Um, of course, there were a lot of heartache and grumbling from guests who were used to a free service to now something that I had to pay for, that replicated the Fast Pass process and service, but I was now paying for it. Flash forward in 2024, Disney then replaced Genie Plus with a service called Lightning Lane Multi Pass. They also have Lightning Lane Single Pass, and as of earlier in 2025, they have Lightning Lane Premier Pass. 3 different services, all conceptually the same, with the one biggest thing that they had in common is you had to pay for the service. But we'll specifically talk multi-pass. That's what replaced Genie Plus, that replaced Fast Pass. You purchase that per day, per park, per person. Service is not cheap. When we were there 2 weeks ago for Magic Kingdom, I believe it was $29 per person at the Magic Kingdom for one day. You can make 3 pre-selections with the multi-pass. If you're staying on property, you can make those 3 pre-selections 7 days in advance of your park day at, I think it's at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're staying off of property, you're local or staying at the Holiday Inn or grandma's house or whatever, you can make those selections 3 days in advance at 7 a.m. When our family was there 2 weeks ago, I bought multi-pass so that we could try to expedite our wait times for as many attractions as possible so that our grandson, who's 21 months old at this point in time, didn't have to sit and wait in line. Toddlers like that don't necessarily like to do that. So we tried to make the experience as good as we could. I think we actually got 9 different ride passes that shortened our wait time throughout our park day. So very effective for us. If you're a somewhat old school person, you might remember one of these. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'm obviously showing a Magic Band. If you're listening to me on Spotify, I'm showing our YouTube viewers a Magic Band. That was something that went on your wrist. It allowed you to use this to scan into the parks. It was your park ticket, scan into your resort as your room key. If you were doing Genie Plus at the time or now MultiPass, it's loaded onto the band and you can scan in with that. If you've tied a credit card to your account, you can use this for charging privileges. This Magic Band started in 2013. It's been 12 years now since Magic Bands were in place. And I should state what I'm holding here is the traditional Magic Band. You cannot buy these any longer. They've now moved to solely offering Magic Band Plus, a little more expensive, has a battery in it that you need to charge to get full effects. It will light up and vibrate with different experiences inside the parks. They've got gold statues around all of the parks that you can go up to with your Magic Band Plus and kind of wave it in front of them. And that gold statue will talk or sing, have some type of interaction with you. This next one is one that I know is a sore subject for a lot of us, the Magical Express. This was a bus service that, when it was still operating, and I'll get to the closure time here soon, when you book your package with Disney, your resort and ticket package, you could select Magical Express. And what that was bus service from the airport in Orlando, MCO, to your resort on property, and then a return trip back to the airport on the day you went home. Was included in your package at no additional cost. You know, a lot of people say Magical Express was free. If you want to say free, that's fine, but at no additional cost. they were covering that expense in your package price. Let's be open and honest, right? Magical Express started in 2005 and it ended in 2022. So it did survive COVID and the reopening, but Disney made the ultimate decision to scrap Magical Express. If you're going to the park anytime soon and you're like, oh my gosh, they don't have Magical Express, I had no idea, you need to find alternate solutions. Uber or Lyft is always an option. Now, depending upon the travel size of your party, it might not be a great option. If you've got little kids that need car seats, that might not be a great option for you. But that is an option. It's probably the most expedited path from the airport to your resort and potentially the least expensive depending upon your travel size. Now, the company that offered the Magical Express, even though it was through Disney and you assumed it was Disney buses, was actually a company called Mears. Mears has the same bus service today that you got with Magical Express. It's just a paid service. I booked my family on Mears Express when we were there 2 weeks ago at the end of May of 2025. At the time, I believe the price per adult was $16 each way. And there might have been a $2 or $3 fee on top of that. So call it $35 round trip per person. I believe it's for anyone 10 and older, and don't quote me on that, but I know children up to a certain age are free. You don't pay for them on the Mears Express. The service worked the same way as it did when it was Magical Express. Once we got our luggage, went down to the lowest level of the airport, went to the Mears section. I scanned in with the QR code that they emailed me. The service member that was there told us which line to go get into. We then waited for them to tell us to load our bus. We provided the luggage to the bus driver who loaded it underneath. And with the Mears transportation that we booked, you could make multiple stops along the way to your resort. Could be that your resort was the first stop, second stop, third stop, what have you. In our case, 2 weeks ago, we went to the Animal Kingdom Lodge and dropped off guests first, and then we went to our resort and dropped off. Very similar to the experience when it was Magical Express that was free. I will tell you this time, and maybe it was just this time, we did not wait inside the airport to load our bus nearly as long as we used to when it was the free service or included service. Okay, resorts. Now, this hasn't changed much. I was surprised at this, but in 2025, there are more than 25 resorts. Now, Disney doesn't give you an exact number because I think it's whether you determine if some of the villas are a separate resort or not from the base resort. So, like Boardwalk Inn, Boardwalk Villas, Beach Club Villas, that sort of thing. But it's 25 plus resorts at Walt Disney World in the bubble today. In 2015, it was 25 resorts. And in 2005, it was 24 resorts. So not a lot of change there. The change really kind of happened prior to that. And I'll talk you through some of these dates. And I was shocked at some of these dates, how long they've been around. All Star Sports and All Star Music opened in 1994. I think they opened about 6 months apart from one another. Sports was first. Wilderness Lodge also opened in 1994. For some reason, I thought that had been there much longer than that. Boardwalk opened in 1996. Coronado Springs, another beautiful moderate resort, opened in 1997. All Star Movies, the third value resort, opened in 1999. Animal Kingdom Lodge came just a couple years after the park itself opened. It opened in 2001. The fourth value resort, Pop Century, which is my favorite of the value resorts, opened in 2003. Saratoga Springs, a deluxe resort, which is near Disney Springs. You can actually take a boat or a walking path for that matter over to Disney Springs, opened in 2004. Bay Lake Tower, which has a walking bridge to the Contemporary Resort, so just off to the left of Magic Kingdom. If you're leaving Magic Kingdom, it's off to your left. Bay Lake Tower opened in 2009. The last of the value resorts, Art of Animation, opened in 2012. And then the last resort that opened at this point in time, and I say that because there are new resorts being built as we speak, the Riviera, beautiful deluxe resort on the Skyliner route, walking distance at Caribbean Beach Resort. It shares some of the water at the Caribbean Beach Resort. It opened in 2019. It's been 6 years already. So as you can see, there's a lot of things that have changed depending upon whether you've been there 10 years ago or 20 years or 25 years ago. Things that were amazing, wonderful attractions that were there when the park first opened are no longer there. But in the spirit of Walt Disney, we are ever changing. The park will never be finished. A lot of new things have come, and there are new things still yet to come. 2027 is going to be a big year for Disney World with the Cars Land that I mentioned earlier opening up at Magic Kingdom. They are building a Villains Land with an expected open date sometime in 2027. Those are at Magic Kingdom. If you go to Hollywood Studios, they are building a Monsters Inc. land there. Again, a 2027 projected opening. And then at Animal Kingdom, they've closed most of Dino Land, but they're going to open up the Central Americas. It will have attractions from Encanto. That also is scheduled to open in 2027. So a lot of exciting things to come. If you haven't been there a long time and you're planning to go on a trip, I would highly recommend utilizing a travel agent for their knowledge, their experience, their tips and tricks, and just to allow them to do all of the heavy lifting and the worrying for you while you can just sit back, do your packing, do your dreaming, thinking about your must do's, reminiscing on the last time you were there, whatever it may be. But I'd highly encourage that because there are a lot of things that have changed that might be very unique to you that if you aren't aware of can impede your enjoyment once you get to the parks. So I think that is a wrap on this episode of the Park Life Podcast. You can find these episodes on my Park Life Podcast YouTube channel. These drop every Monday at about 5 a.m. Eastern Time. You can also find these on Spotify on the Park Life Podcast channel. Try to keep these 20 to 30 or 40 minutes in length. That way, if you're on your way to work, you can listen to them on your drive. If you're taking your kids to school, if you're out running errands, you're on a walk, whatever it may be, you can listen in, hopefully pick up some tips and tricks. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can find me on social media. I am Mike_Disney Travel on TikTok and on Instagram. And I also have a YouTube channel, Mike_Disney Travel, in addition to the Park Life Podcast channel. On Facebook, you can find me at Mike's Magical World Vacations. Love to work with you and your family. My services are completely complimentary. You do not pay me anything for my services to help you with your Disney trips. I'd love to get the chance to work with you and your family. If you know somebody that's a travel agent and you trust them, then work with them. At the end of the day, travel agents want you to have a great experience. They want you to have magical times at Disney, enjoy the experience without the struggles of worrying and planning and all of the different things that go into it. All right, that's a wrap for today. As I always like to say, I hope you have a great day today and an even better day tomorrow. And when you wake up tomorrow, remember it's a great day to be alive. That's it. I will talk to you again next week. Take care. Bye bye.